What makes a character great? It's not just what they do, it's why they do it. What are the motivations that are behind the actions that they take? And oftentimes, the best stories are able to tell and explain the character motivations in really important and amazing ways. And usually the stories that fail or just don't land as strongly, you're not quite sure why the character is doing or saying what they are. In this next episode of Andor, we get to see a little bit deeper into almost all of the characters one by one, what their true motivations are. He's in all the way, and now we're going to see the breakdown. We're going to see how it is that Cassian Andor gets pulled into this rebellion. Hey, if you're enjoying this Andor rewatch series, please leave a like down below. I've really enjoyed this. We're just 2 months out from Andor getting here, and I can't wait. So let's see what episode 5 has to offer. What are you doing? What are you doing? I love how the title sequence music just bleeds right into the episode. It's awesome.
You might as well wear a sign that says, "I promise to disappoint you." Shame we couldn't have seen more of each other when you were flourishing. I'd have the memory to sustain me.
You could have come anytime you wanted.
It's so brutal.
Any civilized being knows an open invitation is no invitation at all.
Scenes like this are really interesting in Andor because we're getting this just one interaction between Cyril Karn and Edie Karn, his mom, and yet we know so much about why he is the way that he is. Why was he so dead set on trying to bring about justice for what Cassian had done when his supervisor had told him to let go of it? There's just so many layers to his character, and it's moments and little snippets, just openings like this, that are so intriguing to building what's going to be coming and how we know what's going to happen. If you've seen Andor before, you know. And I just don't want us to go past this without at least acknowledging how integral its moments like this are to building a world, to building characters. And I know I'm kind of sounding like a broken record on these videos, but this is what Andor does perfectly. Not so much from some other shows. His bag.
You didn't come with much. That plus the bad arms, pretty clear you left wherever you were in a hurry.
Now it's interesting.
You know what this means, don't
Did
you?
Val actually set him up to this?
Yeah, I saw
Or
you
no?
guys go right to it.
Cray dead?
See, they don't know. I got no idea. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Now it's our turn to do the chopping.
That's the title of the episode.
That's why you're here? Revenge?
Yeah, that's good enough for now.
Revenge. He's in it for revenge. Or is he? Everyone might be in it for themselves. And I think that's one of the bright shining spots of this show, is kind of showing these internal motivations of all these characters.
Cloris.
Speaking of,
Yes.
You know his name. Get your coat.
It's out of your way anyway, so what's the point?
The point is, we have a schedule. The driver's waiting. I've planned on this and we're going.
You're only doing it to show off.
What?
Just go.
What would I be showing off?
You're involved somehow.
things are tense at home for Mon Mothma as it all gets harder and harder to find money, which again builds into what's going to be happening here with the rebellion. And then we're back here prepping for the Aldhani heist, and a lot of the distrust that's brewing here, I think, undergirds what's going to be happening over the next episode.
Old and true and sturdy. One of the best navigational tools ever built. Can't be jammed or intercepted. Something breaks, you can fix it yourself.
Hard to learn.
Yes, but once you've mastered it, you're free. We've grown reliant on Imperial tech, and we've made ourselves vulnerable. There's a growing list of things we've known and forgotten, things they've pushed us to forget. Things like freedom.
I love the character of Nemix, and I relate very much to him because I've been trying for the last year to get away from using my phone for everything. I use these field note journals to take notes. I write down scripts. Yes, sometimes I write down scripts. And I've really enjoyed getting away from the digital machine, from social media and all of the things that go on. And I think there's a commentary here, a social commentary that is very true, that we see so clearly as people just fall into these traps of just going with what is being said online and becoming slaves to our devices. Really, for what purpose? To just line the pockets of those who own all of this stuff, right? We're the one being sold our data and everything else. Man, I could go off on tangents because I'm really passionate about trying to keep my digital life at a minimum. That's not about Andor. That's just a little bit about me. But that's part of the thing that I really enjoy about this is they're not specifically saying that. And maybe they mean something different, but I can connect with the character of Nemix because I can see the fight that he wants to free from the oppression of the Empire. And he's willing to go back to an old analog trusty system to do it. What a great message. Just messages like that make this show so interesting and fun.
Fresh inspiration, two seemingly random objects, and yet this charts an astral path, this maps the trail of political consciousness, both systems based on truth, both navigating toward clear and achievable outcomes.
What a philosopher we have. It's awesome. I want to read that. I want to see the manifesto. Release the manifesto.
You really don't. Do you? You don't know how to get it out of there.
How do you input the weight?
You sure it's on the rail?
Yes.
It's mounted. It's ready to go. That's how they keep it. You're sure of that?
Yes, we're sure. Lieutenant Gorn is in there every day.
What else don't they know? This is putting great doubt into Cassian about this mission, because if they don't know about simple things like that, what else could there be? This little interaction, again, builds the doubt in Cassian.
Ooh. Something you tell me.
Can you walk like a soldier?
I've seen it done.
Let's find out if you've been paying attention. Form up.
Good transition, right? Can you walk like a soldier? Let's go back to Ferrix, where everything now is under Imperial authority. Great transition.
Could I be made prefect? The title, I know it doesn't come with extra pay. You can wear a ball gown if you'd like. Just get this up and running before my next staff meeting.
Oh, gosh. Everyone's in it for themselves. They all want the power and the titles. It's the flaw of the Empire.
About confidence. We belong here. We're following orders. The door's being opened as we approach. Lieutenant Gorn will be out front. He's the leader. He's the gatekeeper.
Pay attention to these camera angles. Pay attention to how they present all of this.
He's gone.
Low angles,
I don't think so.
close shots, mixed out by just this low hum, this imposing TIE fighter. And yes, part of that was in the trailer. We saw that from the beginning, but fantastic camera work. That whole series.
Surprise from above is never as shocking as one from below.
And then the lines from Nemec, surprise from above is never as shocking as from below. It makes the TIE fighter feel not just like a dumb little blow-up ship, but something more. Really cool.
Still enough to smell him, right? Can you imagine this place with a couple of thousand of them?
Yes. I can.
Get about your business, Corporal. I'll be making rounds tomorrow night, and I expect you at your station.
So, yes, sir.
Can feel the difference between his interaction and his dislike of what the Empire has actually done. think it gives us hints as to his motivations.
I know this. If I was them, this is how I'd do it. I'd spread it out. Never climb the same fence twice.
It's too random to be random.
Yes. She's on to it.
2 more files each.
It's how I would do it. Again, interesting here. The way the rebellion is going about it is so cautious, so sporadic, so that it can't be thought of as anything more than just some thieves. But Deirdre, she thinks she knows what's going on.
Stay focused, Clem. To the rebellion.
To the rebellion.
Why is it only Nemix that said it, right? That's kind of weird. They're ready. Tomorrow's the day. And they're off.
Everyone has their own rebellion.
And I think that's a really interesting take on everyone's motivation is a little bit different for getting involved in all of this. And we see that in the original trilogy just the same, right? Luke's motivations, Han's motivations, they're all different. Really cool.
Sir, as you were. Who brings a treasure to a robbery?
We don't have time for this.
Good question.
I need to know who I'm riding with.
You know exactly who I am. And you know I'll kill you for it.
Okay, so I guess you know it's not a fake, huh?
It's your call.
Let's not go too far, Clem.
I just want what's mine.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot.
Enough! Everyone stands down. Everyone! Your stuff, move!
Nemix. Good timing, Nemix.
We'll talk when we're safe.
I'm being paid.
What?
Yeah, I'm here for the money. You can't live with that? I'm not worth it? I'll walk away and wish you luck.
Nemix is hurt. But Cassian sees the truth. Cassian sees the truth. He hasn't forgotten. It's like a stone in his shoe. He needs to get Cassian. It's what drives him. It's his motivation. And again, that's what we're seeing in this entire episode. It's about the motivations of why people are doing what they're doing. Is it money? Is it rebellion? Is it revenge?
Okay, that should do it.
So as I stated at the beginning, this episode, while it was entitled The Axe Forgets, that pulling that line that the axe forgets but the tree never forgets, right? That idea that the rebellion is started because the axe just keeps chopping down, but yet the trees remember what the axe has done. And so it's about these histories of these characters. This entire episode is all about the trees. Now, I know I keep saying that these episodes are about the characters, but in particular, this episode really was about the motivations each of these characters faces. And it opens with Cyril Karn and his mother kind of mocking him, making fun of him. And we get an idea and an understanding that his desire and motivations are different than his mom's. He's not just interested in making a name for himself, but he has this like deep-seated belief that what the Empire is doing is good and right, and he wants to right the wrong. And so the episode almost ends, we see a little bit of Luthen, but we come back at the end to him sitting alone in his room staring at the hologram of Cassian, the one that got away. His motivation and heart and desire now is singularly focused towards getting Cassian. That's what we take away from Cyril Karn. And then next we have a conversation between Skeen and Andor, kind of reminiscing about both of their childhoods, going through the prison system and these things that the others don't even really understand, but they have this moment of connection, which is going to kind of be broken later in the episode, but we start to see that these characters are maybe a little bit similar. They both kind of maybe are in it for themselves more than the rebellion. More on that later. And then we get this shot of Cassian kind of looking at the Kyber crystal, and then he gets up and goes and talks to Skeen, again showing some of what is the motivation here of Cassian. It's reminding us, the audience, that Cassian is in it for the money. He's not really yet all in. He said he was all in, but he's not really there yet. This whole episode and this whole series is about Cassian getting there. Right? And I'm guessing in season 2, Cassian, we're going to see him kind of taking more of a leadership role. And so it's showing where Cassian's motivations are standing. And then he interacts with Skeen and they talk about their childhoods and how they both maybe been through the prison system for different things. And they have a moment there where they connect because they're very similar, in fact. Both of these characters are really in it for themselves. They're in it for the money. And then we hop back to Mon Mothma, which almost feels like, if you're not really paying attention to what the purpose of this episode, it feels like the scenes with Mon Mothma really didn't belong at first glance in this episode. Same with the Deirdre, because they're such quick little brief scenes. But again, they're trying to expose some of these motivations. And it's not Mon Mothma that exposes her motivation, but her daughter who calls her out on it, saying you're really only doing these things. Why? So that you can appear like you're close to doing what you're supposed to be doing, so that you can appear like you're involved. You're using me as a pawn, and her whole family is a pawn. It's also foreshadowing the way that she's going to use her daughter and a pawn to get finances for the rebellion. Again, it's a brief scene, but when you step back and you see it, we're walking through each of these character motivations. It really builds and builds on one another, and why Andor is so masterfully put together. And then we're back to Aldhani talking with Nemix, one of probably my favorite interactions. I love his philosophical mind. I love the way that he approaches writing these things. I can see him writing the manifestos and the information that's going to motivate and get people to rise up against oppression. And it is just one of those things that I really enjoy. And I think the way that Nemix was portrayed here, he's just this lovable character in many ways, where he's not going to rub anyone the wrong way, but he really has like a passion and a heart. He's the one that will never give up. He's the one, no matter what, that's all in, where everyone else you kind of feel like might be doing it for other reasons. Nemix is the one of pure heart, so to speak, who purely wants to see the Empire fall, not even just for his own gain, but just because of the oppression that the Empire brings. He recognizes how evil that is, and he wants to overthrow it. Then we have the scene where Vel is questioning Cassian, how he would figure out the weight of this, that, and the other. And at first, when I saw this episode, I was like, well, where's Sintas, where's Vel? What are their motivations? They're not really shown too much in this episode, but I think we get some glimpses of it in this interaction where Vel just really wants this to go well. A little later on, we see that she's withheld information from everyone, including Sintas, who she's in a relationship with. And so there's this motivation for her to succeed, and that's really her desire. It may not be about the rebellion as much, but it's really about this specific mission. That's her focus. That's her desire. And Terramin is really similar to Vel. He has much of the similar kind of perspectives of just wanting to complete this mission and succeed. And they're kind of in that category. And I probably would put Sintas in there as well, though we can get some other motivations. And we heard some last episode of why she's here from Vel. And so you're getting these kind of little snippets and tidbits and all this kind of building together of the why these characters are willing to give their life for the cause. Some of it is more financially motivated. Some of it is connected to past hurt and trauma. Some of it is just about wanting to overthrow an oppressive government. But we get to see all of those things. And then we see some of the Lieutenant Gorn scenes that are showing us his kind of almost nervousness around what's going to be happening. And it's not from him that we hear his motivations, but it's from this conversation later in the episode between Vel and Cassian, where he wants to know, hey, I've kind of heard everyone else's story, but what's his story? And he hears a story, or Vel shares a story about how basically there was about love lost, that the Empire took away the love of his life because she was from Aldhani. And he kind of gets some of that. We get some of that foreshadowed when they're on top of the garrison talking, and the one recruit or the one soldier is talking about how bad they smell, and can you imagine more than 100? And you can see Lieutenant Gorn's face. There's something there, but that's not revealed till the end of the episode. Really well done when you can connect all of those dots back together again. It really shows the weaving together of this fabric, of this tapestry, of this series as just exactly that. Very, very specifically shown shots and conversations. There is not a point of dialogue that we get in this entire episode that isn't absolutely intentionally stated to be exactly that. There is no fluff. There is no filler. There is nothing. And that's what makes me kind of laugh about people who look at this show, Andor specifically, and will say it's filler. It's just boring at times. And I'm like, oh, what? Are you serious? This isn't filler. This is absolute masterclass storytelling. It's all intentional. You just have to look more closely. Yes, it might not immediately make sense on the first look at it, but the best shows, the best movies, the best novels make you want to come back for more, because you're like, I missed something. I want to see what I missed. And then you go back. And that's how I feel about this entire show. Originally, when we came to this episode 5, I was going to be like, what am I actually going to talk about? I actually kind of forgot about this episode. I mean, I knew some of the things that happened. I knew we got some more character building, but I had forgotten how integral the motivations of these characters, that this entire episode, and we get the hint of that from the title itself. Fantastic. And if you're enjoying this, guys, make sure you subscribe for more Andor content. I can't wait for season 2 to get here, and I'll be doing breakdowns on the lead up to everything. So make sure you subscribe. Guys, I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Let me know, what was your favorite part of this episode down in the comments below. And remember, the Force will be with you always.